Hi, welcome to Stories of Retirement. My name is Martin Hurlbert. In this podcast, we share real stories from real people about what life is really like in retirement. And today, I am really excited to have Ada on the show. Ada, welcome.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We look forward to learning from you because we can all learn from each other, can't we? Oh, and
Absolutely.
I was telling Ada before we started the recording here, anyone who's a guest in the show will get a free shirt like I'm wearing right now that says, "It's weird being the same age as old people." And I think I resemble that remark to some degree.
I agree.
So Ada, why don't you tell us a little bit about your life, especially your adult life up until or prior to retirement. What was going on with
Mhm.
you?
Okay. Well, I was a child of blue collar workers. My
Mhm.
parents, neither one of them graduated from high school. So it was a big deal for their kid to graduate from high school, and they was
Wow, okay.
never talk about college or anything, personal development, any of that stuff. So everything that I've done as an adult. And I started right out of high school working in a bank, and
Hmm.
I changed careers sometime, oh, let's see, 1980s, early 80s. I was born in
Right.
56. That makes me
Okay.
79 years old by the time you air this. Excuse me, did
So,
I say
you said
79?
79.
I'm jumping a decade
Take
ahead.
off a
Excuse
decade.
me.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll be 69 on the
I, I
ninth.
I think we can forgive you that little mistake because you're almost 69. Right?
Right? It happens to everybody. What can I
Yes, it
say?
does. It does.
Okay, so I started out in banking. I did really well. I started working for the state of Utah
Hmm.
back in the late, oh, yes, it was late 70s. I was making about $2 an hour working for a bank, if you can believe that.
Okay.
And it was a big raise to go work for the state of Utah. I remember getting like a $2 an hour raise, and it was a really big deal.
Right.
And I worked for the state for quite a few years. I had a child, left the state for a while, and then went back in my early 30s and became a probation and parole officer
Wow.
in my late 30s
So
for
why
the
why would
state of
a nice looking woman like yourself want to work as a parole officer? That's not a tip money.
I
Okay.
was making $6 an hour as an executive secretary, and as a correctional officer, I could make 11 something. So it was
Wow.
a big deal. And I
Okay.
was a single mom at the time. I needed money
You
bad.
need the money. I've done a lot of volunteer work with the homeless, so I have some experience with, parole officers, and so I know
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit of the lingo there. Was that a
Yes.
was that a satisfying career? Was it frustrating, or maybe a mixture?
It was very frustrating, but looking back on it, have you ever heard, I wish I would have known then what I know
Oh
now?
yeah, of course.
Some of the mindset stuff that I've learned and all of the holistic stuff, I could have been such a better parole and probation officer.
Right, right.
I could have been such a better officer, but I did what I could, but it was like herding kittens and
Hmm.
trying to help people that kind of didn't really want to be helped.
Right. Yeah, I often ask the homeless when I talk to them, what you need to get off the streets or off the drugs. And they basically say, until I want to, nothing's going to change. And
Mhm.
sometimes they're happy in that lifestyle, or at least they're, I don't know if that's the right word, happy, but they're kind of stuck in it.
Yes, they're
Right.
comfortable in the discomfort.
That's probably a good idea. That's a great way to say it. Yes, they're comfortable in the discomfort and that's all they know. And of course, kicking that habit takes a lot of work, at least up front, right? That
A
inertia.
lot of habits. And I
Hmm.
always say you have to do the work to improve. If you
Right.
continue doing the same thing every day, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. I used to volunteer at a halfway house in Salt Lake, and there was a poster there that said, "People don't take drugs to feel good. They take drugs to stop feeling bad."
Oh, which one did you work at?
Orange Street.
Oh, that's where I started my career with corrections as a secretary.
And Orange Street, wow. What,
Yes,
who would have thought you and I were at the same place at different
we
times?
could have crossed paths. Who knows? I was only there for about 6 months before I got promoted to an executive position up at the region.
Okay.
So
Well, look at that, man. Awesome. Awesome. So, how long was your career
crazy.
in corrections?
It was just over 20 years. I was
Okay.
anxious to retire. I
Hmm.
retired early. I retired in 2014. And I have to say, it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm
Okay.
very fortunate. I'm also married to a man much younger than I am. He was
Right.
also in law enforcement and he retired retired from corrections also. Not from corrections, but from law enforcement.
from
He
law
was with Highway
enforcement.
Patrol.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So you were how old when you officially retired?
59.
So 59 years old after 20
Actually,
years in law
mhm,
enforcement or corrections, obviously some banking and some other things working for the state. And
mhm.
so you retired at age 59. Tell me, before we get to retirement, what it's like, what are you glad you did to get ready for retirement?
Well, if it wasn't for my husband Terry, I probably would not have put so much money aside.
Okay.
When we got together and he was 11 years younger than I am, he was only 27 and I was 38. I was like,
Mm.
single divorcee.
Right.
Anyway, he was so cute, but he was so good. He was too good to be true. But we ended up getting married about 3 years later, and he really encouraged me to set like a percentage of my income aside into a
Hmm.
401 in addition to my retirement.
Right.
And together we have just really created a beautiful life because he was raised by older parents. I had teenage parents. His mom was
Mm.
46 when he was born. So,
Wow. That's quite a
yeah,
contrast.
so he had a much older mindset than I did, much
Hmm.
older. So
Hmm.
he had a lot of those tools and qualities that I didn't have. And he really balanced me,
So let
kept
me
me in
ask
my
you this. So
stead.
he would obviously, it sounds like he was almost a natural saver, or he had developed that habit. When he was telling you to put money in the 401k or to save more money, did you resist at first because you want to have fun now, or were you, pretty easy to convince?
Interestingly, I didn't really want to do it when I was single because I felt like I needed every penny. And I
Right.
always was in a scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was raised in scarcity mindset. My
Right.
parents were in poverty when they were little, when they were young,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, kind of that depression era, or just barely post-depression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did it though, and I didn't miss the money, right then.
We
But sure glad that I,
typically we don't. Yeah.
yeah,
I have one of my favorite saying is that money does not solve financial problems. It's it is the mental attitude, our motivation, connecting
mhm,
our financial choices to what matters most to us and seeing that impact is what causes us, I believe, to start making better choices with our money. So because
absolutely.
there, I just was out watching a YouTube video last week with people in the lottery. One person lost, I believe it was $1.6 million dollars, and it took him 9 months to lose it all. 9 months.
I'm not surprised. I've heard those statistics before that they end up losing it all. And it's
Yeah.
quite sad, such a terrible mindset and waste.
Right, right. I mean, oh, and yeah, well, we can. I should do a whole episode just on that, on lottery winners and professional athletes who have tens of millions of dollars and lose it all, often end up getting divorced, demoralized. It's pretty sad. So yeah, money doesn't solve financial problems. It's mindset. Tell me some things maybe that you wish you had done to get ready for retirement, if anything at all.
Honestly, I feel really confident in the things that we did end up
Great.
doing. My husband and I not only set up, um, our investments really well. We hired an investment person.
Hmm.
We also paid for our final wishes.
Right.
So we've paid for our final, our burial. We were given a couple of plots at a local cemetery. So that is all arranged. And I hear stories all the time of people that, you know, so and so lost a parent or something,
Right.
and they have to figure out what to do, and everybody has to come up with money, and that's
Hmm.
never a good thing. So,
Yeah, I think, I just wrote a new book called The Happy Retirement Handbook. And one of those 12 steps I talk about is prepare for the end game because no one gets out of this life alive. And even if you don't prepay for it, at least make the decisions so that when you pass away,
yes.
your family who are distraught, hopefully they miss you,
Mhm.
they're not forced to make decisions like that at the worst possible time. So yeah,
Right. Well, they're in that.
pre-planning for the end is absolutely, I think, a very important thing to do. And really one of the last things you'll do for your family or loved ones.
I agree.
So it
I
sounds like
agree.
you had a very kind of interesting, diverse career. You married this much younger man who convinced you to start saving money because that's the way he was raised. And because of that, you have a pretty good lifestyle. At 59, you say goodbye to the boss and you're on your own. Was your intention at age 59 to sail off into the sunset and never work again, or were you itching to do something different?
Actually, it was just the first thing you said. I had
Okay.
literally worn out a recliner the first 3 years after retirement.
Oh.
And what ended up happening to me is I got very sick.
Mm-hmm.
I had been suffering from some health issues, some I have really bad cholesterol in my family and
Right.
heart disease, type 2 diabetes. And I also have had a lot of emotional health going issues going on at the
Mm-hmm.
time. Adult kids, you can't control them anymore, right?
Right.
So, I was letting things get to me that I should not have let get to me. I found my immune system tanking and ended
Mm-hmm.
up with a really good case of Epstein-Barr. Do you know what that is?
I've heard of it and I don't like it. I
No,
mean, it's not a good thing.
it's exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors told me, well, there's nothing you can do about it except rest. And I was not happy with that. I
Mm.
ended up doing my own research, finding out that there was some research about high doses of vitamin C
Mm-hmm.
that can actually help with that.
Right.
So I also was referred to a functional doctor, which is the doctor I still see today. And she's amazing.
Right.
And she has kind of been my spearhead towards my healing journey. And interestingly, recommended for some of my emotional health situation, some essential oils. Are you
Mm-hmm.
familiar with essential oils?
I certainly am. Yeah, we live here in Utah.
Yes. So I started doing doTERRA.
Right.
Actually, that was the gateway to healing for me. Before I knew it, I was selling them and sharing about the beautiful benefits of how these
Right.
natural ingredients help people. And also having little classes at my home teaching about the immune system, lymphatic, respiratory system, all the systems of the body. And I was like really getting into this science. And in high school, I was like, I'll never need that science. But
Yeah.
as an adult, when you start learning, you just get so excited, right? Because
Right.
no one's forcing you to learn it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love history now on TV and,
Yes.
and in books and historical fiction. In high school, when you had to memorize dates, yeah, not so much. But now it's just for
Not so
pleasure.
much at all.
I want to ask
Yes.
you, so you said that you're kind of basically sedentary for about 3 years. Do you think that had a big impact on your health? Just
Oh,
sitting down in
big
the chair.
time. Big
I
time.
bet
I
it
wore
did.
out a recliner. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did say,
I
yeah.
seriously wore out a recliner from watching a lot of daytime TV.
Right.
I did exercise a little bit here and there, but I didn't really have my nutrition dialed in like I
Mm-hmm.
now do, which is a really big one. I
Right.
was working a couple hours a week at Weight Watchers, believe it or not.
Oh.
When I was in my late 30s, I gained a ton of weight. I was up
Mm.
to almost 200 pounds.
Okay. Which is
And
more than now, right? Mm-hmm.
losing the weight was like a game for me.
Right.
It was fun because it was a challenge. But once I lost the weight, I didn't have a game plan. And it
Okay.
was a lot harder than I thought to maintain.
Right.
And
So
I
so
learned,
you went into retirement. You say, well, basically with the idea that I'm just going to do nothing, just no more
yeah,
working, just going to have
yeah,
fun and I guess vegetate in front of the TV in your comfortable chair. And then you had this kind
right.
of just transformation. I know now you have your own business. Tell us a little bit about the business and how you kind of got into what you do now and how you help people.
Okay. So my business name is Ageless Vitality. And I've written a couple of books,
Hmm.
and my second book is called Age with Vitality, and I write about my personal story a little bit even more about how I worked part-time at Weight Watchers and I ended up getting sick and people thought I looked terrible and all these things. Anyway,
Hmm.
long story short, started doing the oils, started deciding to become a health coach
Hmm.
because I was so passionate about helping people and wanting them to have what I have.
Right.
Because I learned also about plant-based, which is completely 100% whole food plant-based. And I also wrote a book called Eat Like Your Life Depends on It that teaches people how to go plant-based.
Hmm.
And I went through coaching school. I invested big time money in a nice coaching program and started developing programs. And I coach online and I've been hosting events. I'm actually hosting a couple events soon. One's on March 1st. And
Hmm.
these programs are designed specifically for women over the age of 40 who are looking to transform their lives through body, mind, and spirit.
Hmm.
I also feel like, in transformation, you can also redesign your entire life and your entire world through mindset.
Right.
It's so key.
I've mentioned this quote, I think, in a few other episodes, and I don't mind repeating it because I think it's so good. But David Bowie said, aging is the process where you become the person you always should have been.
Oh, I love that one. I
Is
haven't heard that one.
isn't that deep?
Yes, I have a favorite quote that's similar, but
Okay.
not quite. And it is C.S. Lewis. You are
Mhm.
never too old to dream a new dream or set a new goal.
Love it.
And
And
when I started my coaching school in my 60s, I thought, oh, I'm way too old for this. But you know what? Having gone plant-based and starting to exercise and working on my health and my mindset, it's like rejuvenating. It's so transformative.
right now, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but my impression is you're probably having more fun now in your life than at a point prior to this.
Yes,
That's
pretty much.
awesome. So you're not just sitting waiting for the sunset to for the sun to go
Yes,
down, and you're having fun. You're making a difference. You're excited. You probably wake up with raring to go.
absolutely.
That
Exactly. And I want this for everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
I just live a
So
joy-filled life.
how was retirement then different than the way you imagined it before you walked away from
Well,
the corrections?
this is what I wrote in my book. I just remember sitting at my desk, staring out the window and dreaming of the days that I could sit with my own cup of coffee and read my
Right.
own newspaper without anybody bugging me.
Mm. That was for you the ideal, huh? And it sounds like you have no plans to go
That
back.
was my goal.
Yeah, yeah. So what is it you think that kind of lit that fire under you? Was it your health issues, or what helped you make this
Yes.
this shift?
I think once I started in doTERRA and learning about some of the things like personal development,
Right.
of course, being part of a team, right? I learned about, the growth mindset, never giving up on your dreams, keep going every day,
Hmm.
reach out to new people all the time in the word of good health and
Right.
vibrancy. I feel like this is something I have a passion, I have a purpose, I have a mission,
Hmm.
and I have a message. And I'm so excited. Like you said, I wake up every day grateful to God every
Right.
single day for all the blessings.
Well, all the things you just listed right now, I think are so important to have a really happy and fulfilling retirement. And of course, and for some
Yes.
people, someone might be passionate about fishing. That's okay. You don't have to start a business. It could be hobbies,
Abs-
it could be
Yeah.
volunteer work, it could be a business, but something you just can't wake up in the morning and then do
Yes.
something, learn something. You're going to keep your mind sharp. What
Yes.
what advice, Ada, would you give to someone then who, let's say, they're maybe just 2 or 3 years away from retirement? It's really on the forefront of their mind. They're really thinking about it. How would you recommend they get ready for that transformation?
Talk to someone about your finances for
Mm.
sure.
Right.
Make sure that you're retiring at the right time for the best benefit of yourself. What's interesting is there's two things about Social Security that I find interesting.
Hmm.
I was told by a couple of older people, wait till you're really old to take as old as you can to take your Social Security.
Right.
And then I've had other people say, no, take it when you can, because your chances are you're not going to outlive the difference in the money.
Hmm.
But I think with the right mindset, the right movement, and the right meals, you can do it.
I believe so. Yeah. It's not, I'm a financial planner. I'm a certified retirement counselor. The break even point is usually 15 to 17 years. If you have to live that much longer than your Social Security. So yeah, if
Okay.
you retire at 70 and die at age 75, you lost. You only lasted five
Right.
years. But if
Yeah.
you retire at 62 or take it at 62, live to your 90, then you also lose. And
Yeah.
and you have to make your best guess on how to
Yeah.
on when to take it out based on lifestyle, your family history, things like that. And you may not
Absolutely.
always get it exactly right, and that's okay,
And
right?
speaking of family history, just because
Yes.
something runs in your family does not mean you are going to get it.
Well, I'm glad to hear
My
that.
family history is terrible. overwrought with type 2 diabetes and heart disease and cancer.
Hmm.
But I have to say that I have learned through all the education that we have the ability through lifestyle choices to make choices that help us live longer,
Mm,
better, healthier, so we can do more and have
right.
fun.
I think that one of the mindset maybe shifts for retirement is this idea that you are now in charge of your life. Your kind of job is to take care of yourself and especially your health. Yes, I'm a financial planner. I like to think I'm pretty good at what I do, but I cannot eat healthy for my clients. And I cannot do push-ups for my clients or go for a walk or a bike ride. There's some things you have to do yourself. And that is your job, to be mentally, emotionally, and mentally fit for as long as possible. So you get the most out of it, right? There's
Absolutely.
another quote I like.
I agree.
I can't believe I remember who said this, but they said, "There's no reason to be the richest man in the graveyard." So
Oh,
we
yeah.
can
I love
focus
that one.
too much on the money and not enough on our health and our wellness.
And here's another one that's similar. I'd
Uh-huh.
rather be the oldest person in the gym than the youngest person in the nursing home.
There you go. That's I like that too. That's very good. Hey, what is
Swap
your
them out all day.
yes? What is your website? I'll put it in the show notes as well. But just tell everyone what is your website if they want to
Okay,
learn
it's my
more.
full name, which is AIDAWOODWARD.com.
Okay, and if they didn't quite catch that, don't worry. Go to the show notes on my website, storiesofretirement.com. We'll have a link there for that. Reach out to Ada, get her books, and there you go. There's one of the books right there. Awesome. And now we see it better. Ada and I, we met at the National Speaker Association Utah chapter back in November, and hopefully I'll see you again here in our February meeting coming up, I think in a week or two. So
Yes,
yeah, it's you've got a lot of energy. I'm so glad you're on the show here today, and I will bring your shirt to that next meeting of the Speaker Association. How about that?
awesome. Can't wait to wear it. Thank you so much.
All
It has
right.
been such a pleasure.
Okay. Thanks for sharing your story, and thank you for your time, Ada.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
I hope you enjoyed the interview and learned something that you can use in your own retirement. If you've been retired for more than 1 year and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast to share your story, please visit storiesofretirement.com. If you have a question about retirement, or maybe you're not even sure where to begin, I offer all of my listeners a 1-hour consultation at no charge. Whether by phone, video call, or right here in my Orem office, I'll do my best to answer your questions, to help you avoid costly mistakes, and then put you on the pathway to a successful retirement. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, at Achieve More Retirement, our goal is to help you live your life on purpose. Please share this video with others.